Sinatra, Shirley MacLaine, and Dean Martin would make news even today. But in 1958, and on the streets of Madison, Indiana, it became the stuff of town lore and legend.
I was crazy about Frank Sinatra. I liked Dean Martin, but Frank Sinatra was my idol, listening to my older sisters play his records and all, and I liked him real well.
Donna Jackson is county clerk now, but in 1958, she and her friend Judy were what Jackson calls the original groupies.
We hid in bushes and watched them at the Hillside Hotel. We watched people empty garbage for them, and cars with dark windows come in and pick them up.
Graham Taylor is managing editor of the Madison Courier. In the 1950s, he worked in radio news and met and interviewed all the movie stars. All that is, except Sinatra.
He was the only star that was here that refused to talk to the radio or the newspaper.
Taylor says Shirley MacLaine was more neighborly.
I think at the time, Shirley MacLaine really fell in love with Madison. She was one of the most cooperative, one of the most congenial people that came here on location for the filming of the movie.
MacLaine may have been friendly, but she was far from refined as an actress.
Shirley MacLaine, who is a tremendous actress now, had a lot to learn in 1958.
Jackson watched as MacLaine and Sinatra filmed the movie's opening scenes.
She would always muff her line, and it would make him so exasperated that they were going to have to repeat it again and again and again. I don't know how many takes they did just on that one scene.
Missed lines were among the tamer pieces of Hollywood gossip. There were plenty of stories floating around Madison.
Frank Sinatra supposedly tore up a room at the Hillside Hotel where he was staying in private quarters there. And one of the stars said it was so hot in Madison it was too hot for sex.
It was not the heat, but traffic that forced the filmmakers to work overnight on these downtown fair scenes. Jackson was in the crowds.
I got paid for it, and I think it was $18 for 2 days of work.
2 days' work and nothing to show for it, on film, that is.
I never saw myself, never saw Judy. But I mean, I know we were there because they paid us for doing it, but I'm sure in Hollywood someplace, you know, they cut it out.
Making the final cut are numerous shots of historic Madison. 35 years later, the town hasn't changed much.
Madison still has the look of Some Came Running, really. If you take a look at the downtown Main Street area, some of the portions of the film, and take a look at it today, it's basically the same.
People did not allow these buildings to be torn down for parking lots and progress.
Unlike the town, the faces you see in Some Came Running have changed. Like Shirley and Frank, the folks in Madison have a few more lines around the eyes and maybe some gray hair, but they also have great memories.
I think they remember it today just as well as it happened yesterday, and I'm sure they would say it's some of their fondest memories.
Jane, I understand you have a bit of a personal connection to the movie?
Well, sort of. One of the scenes was filmed on Hanover College's campus, and you saw a brief bit of it during my piece, and there's a still of it right now. Off to the right is the building into which Shirley was walking. My parents were on the second floor looking down, watching the filming, and just today I talked to my dad, and he said he remembered being surprised at how many freckles Shirley MacLaine had.
They just happened to be up there watching, or what was
My dad has an office, or had an office at the time in that building.
Okay. What are we going to see tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to fast forward.